We're pleased to announce that this episode of the Talking Wolves podcast is sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than a game. Green King Sport venues are showing every single one of Wolves' televised fixtures across the 23-24 season, and with over 900 sports pubs based in the UK, it doesn't matter where you are, you can watch every minute of the action. If you download the Green King Sports app, you can grab 10% off drinks whenever there's a football match on. But also, this month, there's thousands of pints of free Guinness to be won and the chance to win one of 6 holidays as well.
Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. I am back. I've missed the last couple of weeks. I was ill and then I was working away in London. If anyone had to travel down to London from Birmingham last Monday to Wednesday, you'll realise how much of it was awful. Apparently like a landslide, so it took me way longer than it should have. So I wasn't able to do the podcast. But it's another quiet one this week. I've joined alongside Dave as a party. Dave, no Jord, no Finn. But the mates are back, so that's all that matters.
Exactly, mate. Yeah. No, enjoyed it last couple of weeks, to be fair. Obviously missed a couple of people there. Disappointed with the lack of banter, I think, over the last couple of weeks. So I have to make sure we can make up for it this week.
No footballing knowledge from me, just banter. So,
yeah.
We've all got our part to play. But I believe Geordie's may or may not have set off for his wedding.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Antigua,
and Finn's at ABBA or something. I can't remember what he said.
Finn's done his quarterly appearance, so he's he's out of it. But I feel like today, you've rearranged your fringe a little bit now, Dave. But I feel like we were sporting similar fringes, quite Karen-esque.
I don't know if I can do mine. There you go.
Yeah, I could do it. We could do it with a trim as well. But what a week!
I've had a trim. I've got the trim. It's just I haven't put any gel in it today.
Your sister cuts your hair, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Does she? She's still got that Labrador.
Well.
And that white stick. It's all right, mate. It's all right. It's not that bad. When you haven't finished, son.
Yeah.
Hey, you call that the council. Do you do it with a knife and fork? But yeah, what a week, man. What a week. After the disappointment at Brentford at home, which it felt like the end of the world for me. I was fuming at that performance. To go to Spurs, Dave, we wanted a reaction, but this team just keeps surprising us.
Yeah, I think I said it at the end of the Brentford reaction or review video. I said, well, it'd be sod's law that we go and do Spurs now next week. And it was fantastic. The level of performance was so much better. I think it does help that, obviously, with us being away from home and Spurs going to have a lot of the ball and under Postecoglou, a really, high defensive line, that was going to suit us because of how we play and as a counter-attacking team. But I thought the press and just every element of our performance was brilliant. And the level of away performances really pretty much since after Christmas have been fantastic, really. So, really good way to react and obviously a fantastic 3 points as well.
Yeah, we were hopeless at away from home for quite some time, it felt like. But really strong at home. But it seems like, why can't we just have both?
Yeah.
It feels like the home form has suffered a little bit. Lost to Brentford, lost to United. I know there's only, 2 out of the last few, but I'm hoping that... I'm hoping they haven't swapped places. Saying that, it'll make away days a lot more fun for people. Must have been some day down in London for all those who have visited, but it seems like Spurs is a bit of a playground since we've come up, mate. I think have we lost there once maybe? The new stadium,
twice, I think, but we've had really good
one in lockdown.
Yeah. But then obviously, since we come up, obviously we beat them at Wembley as well. So we've had some good moments there. I think it was at a stage where they were coming to Molineux and beating us at Molineux, and we were beating them at their place. But we've sort of switched that round now. I think we've beaten them, or we have beaten them 3 games on the bounce. I think we beat them under Lopetegui at Molineux, obviously Gary O'Neill at Molineux, and this win as well. So we've got decent form against them, but they have been very good this season. So not an easy game, and we should never have taken it for granted, but a top performance and a fully deserved win, I think.
Yeah, I think the reverse fixture, they had quite a few injuries. They had 2 key injuries in this game in Udogie and Porro, which those 2 are pretty integral as to how they play and build up. Well, obviously we had Cunha missing as well, which is probably been our best player over the last couple of months. But Dave, I think Wolves went there and almost the way that Spurs played was perfect for Wolves. Wolves could contain Spurs, hit on the break, and yeah, it was just apart from a couple of errors which we'll come on to. I thought it was near enough, Dave, the perfect performance.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, like I said, the way that we pressed, the way that we created opportunities, I think could have got to a point somewhere where we may have regretted some of the opportunities that we did miss because we created some really good clear cut opportunities. But the way, every sort of department of our squad, the forwards, the central midfield too, which I'm sure we'll talk about a lot, and the defense as well, and even Jose Sarr, they played their part on Saturday, did what we had to do, and ultimately it was a top performance. But like you've said, the way that Spurs played into our hands because we're so quick on the break, we press well, we counter attack well, and it was perfect for us on Saturday.
Sorry, mate. I thought my mic had slipped out. Then
No, that's right.
Happens to the best of us. To be fair, I thought that with Porro and Udogie out, that Maddison would be the one who makes it happen for Spurs. He's been since he come back from injury, hasn't played as well. But I know before the injury, mate, he was in fantastic form, and he is a fine player. But Gomez and Lamina did an absolute job on Maddison. As soon as he got the ball, either Gomez or Lamina was up his arse. I think at half time, even when he went for a piss, Gomez was in the cubicle next to him. He just didn't give him a second to turn and run at walls and thread a pass. But even though Spurs had that midfield three, Dave, it felt like there was two Laminas and two Gomez. The energy that they gave us is, for me, one of the biggest reasons why we won that match.
Yeah, Gomez was phenomenal, I thought, and obviously Lamina as well. I think with Mario Lamina, obviously since his sort of absence from the team around that sort of Christmas time, early January, he's had some good moments and good games, but there's been also some games where I felt he's been a little bit slow and probably not quite up to speed. But I thought he was much better at the weekend, and João Gomez as well. I think it's crazy the fact that how well Tommy Doyle has played again in the absence of both of those with the suspension of Gomez as well, and still those two are just going to continue in this team. I think for the time being, I think there will be certain situations where Tommy Doyle's still going to get plenty of football, but those two we talked about for so long how we needed more physicality in our midfield. And how good João Moutinho and Ruben Neves were, but we never quite had that bite in the midfield. And I think that's what Lamina and João Gomez have added. And both of them are adding goals as well. I don't know off the top of my head, but obviously 2 for João Gomez. Lamina's got 3 or 4, I think, this season. Yeah. 6 goals there. I know Neves was on penalties and so on, but João Moutinho and Neves weren't adding that sort of threat. And I know they're slightly different roles, but brilliant. They're absolutely everywhere. For João Gomez first half, it was once or twice where I felt his choice or weight of pass could have just been a little bit better. But he more than made up for that with both goals as well.
Yeah, but I think those instances that you're on about, as if the final ball is better than Wolves are away, so you only need to get it right once, but you would expect him to get it, right a few more times. But he did. He did for the second goal, which we'll come on to. But Hwang had that chance in the first half that he should have scored, probably a little bit flat-footed. But Sarabia, mate, with another assist, quietly going about having a fantastic season for Wolves, considering that he'd been brought in from the cold from Gary O'Neill. I'd put an Instagram post up about not playing. The fact that most Wolves fans, and I know on this podcast, especially probably Jordan more so than me, of saying he's a quality player. You can see that. It really feels like ever since Sarabia come into the team, or has had more of a pivotal role in the team, then the performances and the goal tallies increased. How many assists that now? Is it maybe 7 or 8 in all competitions?
He's up there, I think. With I can very quickly have a look, but I think he's up there towards Neto's numbers. Obviously, Neto added another one. With the second one as well. According to Transfermarkt, he's got 9 in all comps. He got 3 in the EFL Cup, but six still in the league. So 6 goals and 2 goals, and 6 assists is really not bad at all.
It was a great delivery as well for the corner. I'm not sure what the Spurs defending is doing, but it's a free header, right? But it's still a quite difficult chance to take, and I think Gomez took it exceptionally.
Yeah, I think Joe Gomez is probably the smallest player in that box as well. But I think the quality of the header and the direction of that header was bang on, really. So, no, really, really good goal and perfect. We fully deserve that to go in at half time ahead as well. Fully deserve that with the chances it created, the way that we frustrated Spurs. And just great, Joe Gomez 2 goals. He only scored once before in a Wolves shirt, which was obviously the Southampton win. So for him to grab another two. And it was interesting, I felt, because we see it a lot where João Gomez would sit and Lamina would be the one that's sort of running into
No,
the
he's a
box
bit more
late, and
advanced, wasn't he?
it was almost the opposite. Felt on Saturday. João Gomez had the legs, and you saw, I think, we'll come on to it with the second goal as well, but the way he timed his run was and followed the move into the box was really good, really intelligent as well. And there's still areas of his game that he's going to improve, but I think we mentioned it a few weeks ago. I certainly would be surprised to see Wolves fielding a few inquiries for him in the summer.
He's so tenacious as well, isn't he? I mean, sometimes he rides his luck a little bit in terms of how many fouls he's making, but him and Lamina are so tenacious and allows Wolves to play on that front foot, catching teams out in transition. And it's led to so many goals. I mean, it led to the second, but I thought Wolves were more than good value for the lead in the first half, mate. So I was a little bit disappointed when they come out for the second half and concede such a sloppy goal. Now, this one's divided opinion, really, Dave, from what I've seen on Twitter. Some people blame Sarr, some people blame Dawson, some people blame both of them. Where do you stand on it?
I think it's quite harsh to blame Sarr, in my opinion. I think firstly, I was disappointed with how cheaply we gave away the ball from our own kickoff. To be honest, I think obviously the ball had gone out before the goal itself down in our end, but the fact that we've got a kickoff and 20 seconds later we're defending a throw in deep into our final third is a little bit frustrating. But yeah, far too easy for Kulusevski. I think Dawson will be really, really disappointed with how he was turned. I felt he had a very good game other than that, to be honest. I just think it's a good finish. I don't know. I can't really see where you can pinpoint the blame on Sarr for that, if I'm completely honest. If you have to blame someone, I think it's going to be Dawson.
Yeah, O'Neill said in his post-match press conference the thing that, and he basically echoed what we said, it was pretty much the perfect performance apart from them being able to play into a forward player so easy after throwing, which he said is similar to what happened at the United game. For me, and I always kind of, it's not goalkeepers union for me. I'm always going in on the goalkeeper. You always say, look, how can you say you blame the keeper there? I'm so harsh on goalkeepers, but in this instance, I don't think you can blame the keeper. Mate, if he gets beat his near post, you'll say, "Oh, he should have saved it," but he's put it through his legs. For me, it's on Dawson. It looked a bit like a tired tackle, even though it was only just kicked off. Like, he looked a little bit stiff. But you're right in what you said there, Dave. Look, he was at fault for that goal, but I thought on the whole, he defended the area fantastically throughout the game.
Yeah, I felt, the frustrating thing with the goal at the time was that we've been so good in this first half, but we've just given them a huge opportunity now.
The timing as well of it.
Yeah, for another 45 plus minutes to go and get another goal themselves. They had a lot of momentum at that point as well. So, credit to Wolves for sort of standing firm, and the defence had to do that a lot. I think if you look at the expected goals and so on, Wolves still had much better expected goals than Spurs. But we still had to defend. There were a lot of balls coming into the area, which Dawson and co had to defend quite well. Sarr was forced to make one or two decent stops. So defensively, again, there've been a couple of performances like that as well, where we can sit deep and we can frustrate teams. And if we're allowed to play the way that we want to play, then there's a chance that Wolves are going to continue scoring goals and continue getting some fantastic wins.
I don't think there's there's many teams in the league who are better at Wolves at defending their area. I thought Totti had a fantastic game. Even Semedo, mate.
Semedo was class.
Yeah, I mean, you're in for a tough game when you come up against Son anyway. But he more than did a number on him. But also going forward, mate, he was such a big part of that Wolves counter-attacking threat. That ball he played through for Sarabia as well. He should be scoring that, but my word, like, these are the things that I think if anyone could be critical of Semedo over the couple of years, it's up the other end. And I feel like I feel like he's criminally underrated, but that sort of performance goes towards shutting the doubters up, in my opinion. Sarabia's got to score that, innit?
Yeah,
Got
it's
to
a show the
score that.
goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywhere else, and it's 2-1. It's a great. It would have been a great assist, like you said, but I felt Semedo was brilliant, really, really good.
It was very similar to the goal they scored against City. Hwang's goal where he put the ball in for Cunha.
Yeah.
Very similar run, but he's such a threat that in those positions. But I don't really get the stick, if I'm honest. I don't really get why people don't rate him.
No, I don't know. I think obviously we were so used to Doc in regards to him, the scoring the goals and so on. And Semedo was never ever replicated that. You can't deny that. But still, I think he still offers something going forward. I think you look at that for instance. You've put that on a plate for Cunha or maybe Neto or whoever. I think we go
Put that
2-1
on the
up.
plate for Doc, mate. More like
Yeah, 2-1 up, and he's got an assist to his name. But I think the defensive side of things, Semedo's brilliant and really, really underrated. Stand like neutral sort of hipster football fans will never ever rate Semedo because he had one crap game against Bayern Munich for Barca. Wolves fans may point out the game against Brighton when Mitoma cooked him. Fair enough. But if you don't go to work and have a crap day once in a while, then I don't think you're human anyway. So I think 7 or 8 games out of 10, Semedo is very decent. So
yeah, I think he's been brilliant this season, and I think if you took him out of the team, mate, you would notice a massive difference.
well, we have done anyway, haven't you? When you put Doc in there, and when Aitnor is at the team, we've had to put Doc there or Bueno there.
Yeah,
It's a massive difference. Those two are huge and so pivotal to the way that Wolves play at the moment.
because they're so safe in possession as well. Like, I think people don't give Semedo enough credit in terms of like how good he's on the ball, in terms of retaining the ball. He never really ever gives the ball away, even in tight spaces. He always uses his body well to cover a player. So yeah, I just think put a bit of
away.
1, 2, 3. I think just a bit of respect for him. It'd be interesting to see what they do with him at the end of the season, though. Because he'll have a year left on his deal, won't he?
I think
he's had some serious dough.
Wouldn't surprise me if he signs a new deal. I know we've had this conversation before, but for now, I think he'll cost a lot of money to replace him.
Sometimes it's better the devil you know as well, mate, with stuff like this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, his legs haven't gone or anything like that.
Nah.
He's not, touch wood, he's not very injury prone. So
whose would you touch it?
Yeah.
Sounds really hard. What is he, 30, 31? 29, 30? It's around about that age.
George got Craig Dawson's age badly wrong last week. Apparently he said he was 36.
36 now. Yeah. I've not listened to the podcast back, but I'm saying for Craig Dawson, he's 33.
Yeah, he's 33, yeah. Semedo's 30. Turns 31 at the end of the year. Yeah. Still a few years left in him, IMO.
Definitely. Let's talk about that second, Dave. Because I'm of the opinion now that there is nothing you can do to stop Pedro Neto in that situation. He's unstoppable. I think in terms of breaking and actually producing at the other end, I don't think there's a better player in the league right now. And maybe people will tell me otherwise, better at that than Neto. He's unstoppable. To have the energy to cut back and the composure, and then to find that pass. I think if you can probably criticise Neto for anything, it's sometimes that the final ball isn't good, or his shooting is a little bit. His finishing could be better, but I feel the last few weeks, since he's come back, some of the balls he's been putting into the box have been fantastic. It's just a shame that no one's been in there to finish them off, but to run the length of the pitch, to absolutely tear Royale a new arsehole, and then to cut back, hold him off, the composure to playing João Gomez, mate. Oh, it's just unbelievable. It was if you could sum up like Wolves in a goal, that would be it.
I think the composure and the consistency of Neto in front of goal has improved a hell of a lot this year. But there were certain times where he's just not thinking about it before he was hitting the ball in regards to shoot, or sometimes he was thinking but sort of overthinking or had too much time. Whereas in these moments, there was another game that I was thinking of. I think it was the Chelsea game where he gets the ball and he almost like doesn't even need to look up. He just knows where Cunha is. And I think this was a similar sort of thing. Probably one of the longest one distance for a 1-2 that you'll see all season, especially ending in the goal. Because I think João Gomez was the one that started the move. Neto goes down the line. And I can't remember, it was Wolves where I was watching Match of the Day. They just sort of showed the angle from behind. And Gomez is never at full pace. He's just sort of a decent pace jog up the pitch, almost just following in the action behind. And as soon as he knows Neto's got the ball, and as he turns Emerson Royale, he gets that jog on the edge of the area, and nice finish as well. That's sometimes it's not easy. It's so easy to get your foot into those, and it ends up going over the bar. So Gomez has done really, really well with that. But that assist is just phenomenal again, and it just doesn't cease to amaze me with Neto anymore. It's just so good.
The thing that like, kind of bugs me a little bit, like you see people such as, I know we spoke, I listened to Express and Star podcast, the likes of Liam Keane and Tim Spears, who was on the one previous, talking about him going for about 60 million. But then I watch a performance like that and think, yes, he's had trouble with injuries in the past, but he's got to be worth more than that. When he's that effective,
well,
I think it's a cheat code.
I don't think people realise he's got like 5 years worth of Premier League experience as well. And he's always had, when you watch him, he's always had that quality. Even when he was a kid.
I disagree. When he first come in, and I'm very wrong.
I do remember that. Yeah,
I was just like, I'm not sure what he does, but I suppose that's.
I think he was very, very raw. I think it took him a good 2 years to get up to pace, but you could see there was something there. But now he's just showing it on a much more consistent basis and being much more ruthless in front of goal. Whether that's him sticking the ball in the back of the net or laying it off to somebody to do the job for him. But
he was meant to go to Benfica into the Wolves, wasn't he?
Yeah. Mendes had said that recently, hadn't he? So I think
Mendes also said he should have gone for 100 million. But this is the best, and for Wolves, it's the right time to sell him because he's probably never going to get the same of what they'd get now. But I just think he's worth more than that, and with so many clubs to be rumoured and interested in him, but it makes more sense if there's only one club who's really keen. But I think he improves City. I think he improves Arsenal. I think he definitely improves Spurs, but I don't think he'd want to go there. So there's 3 teams. 2 have already seem to be really keen on him.
I think it depends a lot on how he finishes the season. Like if he can continue the season, he's on 9 assists now. If he gets up to a few more goals and close to 15 assists, he'll probably have the most assists in the league. That's when you have the discussion of probably closer to £80 million. I just don't. I think you're restricted just that little bit if Wolves don't get, and I say if, it's a big if Wolves don't get into European football, which I don't think we will, personally.
So
you're sort of restricted a little bit because you've got a player that is desperate to go and play and deserves, rightly deserves to play at a much higher level. So that probably restricts Wolves a little bit. And you got the Jorge Mendes tax on top of that. So I think you can personally get over 70 million, between 70 and 80 million for him.
I think so too.
So that'd be like ridiculous. That's like almost double our transfer sale record, and that will give Wolves a lot of flexibility in the market. Not to say we're going to spunk all 80 million of it if we get that, but it'll give you a lot more to play with anyway.
I think the transfer budget will be. I suppose it's similar for most clubs, but probably definitely more in our case. Will be dependent on how much we raise through player sales. I think if none of them,
100% now.
If none of them go, I can't see him really spending. If I'm honest, but
what do you think in the summer? If Neto goes, you've got a lot of fringe players. There might be a question about this as well. I don't know. You could say Sasha, but I don't. We'll chat about that later. Guedes, Fabio.
He's doing all right at Villarreal, but it's whether they.
Yeah, well, not even necessarily them, but even if you get, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to put values on all of them, but Guedes, Fabio, Luke Kundal, there's a few players there where Wolves could easily probably raise another on top of Neto, another 40 to 50 million pounds. So, and you've got players out on loan that are almost ready-made squad players. Mascara will come back.
I think
Chiquinho could possibly
Mascara will.
come back and be, a squad player as well with how he's doing. So
The Guedes one's interesting because if he's doing all right at Villarreal, if they're looking at it from a purely profit and sustainability point of view, I'd have to do the maths properly. But if they were to sell him for anything over, I think 16 and a half, 17 million, 16
yeah,
million maybe, they'd go down as a profit. So because of the amortization. So they may be just looking at that of, look, we're going to have to make a loss on the actual fee for what we brought him in. But if we can get something around that mark, then from a profit and sustainability point of view, it would go down as a profit on the balance sheet. So I think they cut the losses with him. I think they cut the losses with a couple of them. I think Fabio's doing all right at Rangers, but again, how much money are you going to make on him?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some other players. Obviously, there's Pedence as well. He's not going to get you tens of millions, but he'll get you an okay amount. And there's a lot of fringe players, even players like Keanu Hoover. You either, you make this. I don't think he's been unbelievable at Stoke, but you bring him in and make him a squad player, or you get rid of him and definitely making a loss on him as it stands. But with us playing with this back five again, could be an option for Gary O'Neill to have a look at in the summer. So there's money there. There's money for Wolves to play with. It's just really the big players. Pedro Neto's, like I said earlier, if you're going to start fielding inquiries, and you're not going to actively look to sell them, but if you are going to get inquiries to the likes of João Gomez or whoever else, it'll be interesting. Hwang as well. Hwang's had a lot of interest in him. So, and again, I think, like you said with Neto, there's possibly in the summer, a discussion to be had if someone is offering big money on Hwang, because I don't think he'll be able to. Again, he's been injured for a little bit, but I don't think he'll have the season that he's had so far again, if I'm honest.
As long as you keep all the Cunha, I'll be happy.
Yep.
Personally. But yeah, I mean, the run from Gomez is great for the goal. To be fair, a lot of the Spurs players ran towards the ball and it just kind of like ghosted him, didn't they? Pretty poor defending, really. It's a little bit naive, but yeah, like you said, Dave, it's quite often you see those ballooned over the bar. So yeah, a fantastic performance all round, Dave, and it just feels nice to finally feel like there's a bond between the playing staff, the coaching staff, and the fans, because that's been missing for years now since Nuno left, and I feel like we're nearly there in terms of rebuilding those bridges.
No, 100%. I think the players get it. Gary O'Neill definitely gets it. I think it does help a little bit when you've got, certain cultures of managers, but like, Bruno Lage never got it. Lopetegui, there was spells of it, but then I think he just started to wind people up a little bit, especially obviously at the end of his tenure was just strange. But Gary O'Neill is getting it. And I think the thing that weirdly works in his favour is that no one expected him to be doing as well as he has been so far. So he's got even more support because of that. But I think he's genuinely put together a team of coaching staff and people around him that understand football and actually get football. He's got this group of players that, a lot of young players, but want to win football matches and want to go places. And whether they excel at Wolves or at other clubs, I think they'll always remember this season, because it's been good. Been good for the club on and off the field, really.
Yeah, some say they got a bit lucky with it, but then you don't know what the process was there. There could have been loads of I know Lee Carsley was looked at, wasn't he?
Yeah, Carsley, Lampard. I don't think any of them would have had this impact that he's had, to be honest. Well, you never know. Michael Beale sacked at Sunderland today, 18 months ago, could have been Wolves manager.
Mate, I was really excited at the thought of Michael Beale as a Wolves manager, because he was, held in high esteem as a coach, but it's gone awful for him, hasn't it?
I think
you see him at the weekend.
Yeah, I think when I saw that, I knew that his time was limited at Sunderland. I think he's gonna have to go back to coaching, to be honest. There's a lot of people like that. Bruno Lage, no doubt he'll still stay in management because he's had a couple of decent sized jobs. But very, very good coach. But when you're the man at the top, it's a different level, really.
Yeah, Beale was obviously quite a disingenuous character, and I think that's showing at the weekend as well, and not even giving a little tap on the hand to his player, one of his better players as well. But we're in a much better position now, thankfully, than when we were then. So Sheffield United versus Wolves, Dave, on Sunday, 1:30 kickoff. Any reason why it is 1:30 kickoff? Seems a bit strange.
That's quite early, isn't it, for a Sunday?
Yeah, normally
I'm
the
not
2
sure.
o'clock, 2 o'clock, aren't they?
Maybe.
Is it anything to do with you went to cup final? Is that Sunday? The Carabao Cup?
Oh, yeah, I think it is. So the Carabao's at 3:00. So yeah, it's because of that. So we're the only Prem game on Sunday, actually. So yeah, it's because of the cup game.
Yeah. You know what happens here, don't you, Dave?
Oh yeah, I know, 100%.
I've seen this film too many times, and I really don't like the ending.
I'm sure our form against them at home isn't great either. I can remember us when the last time they went down, we dropped points against them. That was before COVID, though, I think.
They are
Then
absolutely awful.
I think they're gonna. It's gonna be hard because they're gonna park the bus, aren't they? Really, and stink the place out. But I don't know. Genuinely, I've not like I haven't been able to watch a hell of a lot of football. So the last couple of games, I think the Villa game they got smashed. This game, I've not watched anything. Not even watched highlights. I saw Holgate's tackle yesterday, which was horrific. But I've not watched anything else of them really. So I don't even know how they set up and play at the moment, to be honest.
So play a back five, didn't they?
Yeah,
So,
I'm just looking at Molineux. We beat them 2021. I think that's when Willian Jose scored. And obviously, we smashed him in the FA Cup a couple of years ago. I say that actually. To be fair, we've not been awful against them. Our form against them is actually pretty good.
I've just it's always the case when a team's at an absolute pasting, and the next week they just shut the shop and grind out a 0-0 or a 1-0. We had it with Bournemouth, didn't we? When they got, was it 7-8 at Anfield? I've just got a funny feeling about it, mate.
If you offer me now a shit ass 1-0, mate, I'd take it every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't give a fuck how we win, to be honest, as long as we win. But no Holgate for that absolute shocker challenge. How Ahmed Hodzic can say it's never a red card.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of a twat, isn't he? Made a couple of comments, hasn't he, this season about other issues in his head anyway, not in anyone else's. But Brereton Diaz and Archer should or could both still be out. They're the two players who I would say the biggest threat. I like Brereton Diaz. I think he's done all right since he's come on loan, and Cameron Archer's a bit of a nuisance too. So everything aligns for a Wolves win, doesn't it, Dave? But it's going to be a difficult affair. I think it's going to be similar to Brentford, where they are going to park the bus. Who's going to find them hard to break down, and then it's on Wolves to find an answer to that. But I feel like Brentford were fantastic out of possession, whereas Sheffield United, I'm not too sure I've got that nous and discipline to do that.
I think, yeah, you're right there. I think although Brentford can frustrate you and sit deep in that, they've still got enough quality, like the Ivan Tonys and the other players across the pitch, where they can hurt you. Whereas Sheffield United, no disrespect, on paper don't have that. So you would hope, we played well against them. Well, I say well, we dominated the game against them last time. Had that one chance, a mistake from us, and Archer puts the ball in the back of the net, and obviously a bit of a ropey penalty decision at the death as well. So yeah, these are the games that we've got to be winning if we want to take, have any chance of, the slight chance of European football. We've got to be winning these football matches.
Yeah, do you think we've got a chance of Europe, mate? I know about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, the question was asked around about that, and we were same points off the relegation zone as we were off Europe, and I said we got no chance of Europe. But then some blokes said we've got no chance of being relegated, so why is Europe off the cards? And to be fair, he was right, but I still just don't think.
I think if you look at it right now, so we've got 3 points between us and Brighton. So it's doable.
I think Brighton are going to go on a bit of a run now.
Yeah, so these are the games you got to beat. But unfortunately, although we're 3 points, there's 4 other teams above us. So, I think we're very safe 11th upwards because, we're 6 points away from 12 as well. I think top half would be an unbelievable season for Wolves regardless. West Ham, I think, are on a little bit of a downward spiral. Newcastle are a bit patchy on form. But, it's just the consistency. If Wolves can hit a bit of consistency, they've got a chance. But there's 3 or 4 very good teams ahead of us still fighting for the same place, really. So it was never the aim. So if we get it, fantastic, unbelievable. But I don't think it's going to be the be-all and end-all.
I just think we'll run out of a bit of steam, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the squad's so
But
small.
if we can get to a point, maybe in going into like the last 4 or 5 games, maybe in 6 or 7 weeks' time, where we're still within touching distance, maybe 3 to 5 points away from it, and then we get our full squad back, full fitness. We've got every chance.
I know the last few games of the season, like Brighton play. I think Brighton play like Newcastle, Villa, and Man United.
Wow. Yeah.
So I think that's their last 3 games.
And the FA Cup as well. FA Cup could go in our favour. So
yeah. Well, if Liverpool win the Carabao Cup, then it looks like 8th place would be Conference League, doesn't it? I think that's what it is.
So 5, 6. Yeah, it could be
Because
top
of
8, coefficients.
And if Man City win the Champions League as well, then it's going to go in Wolves' favour. So I just don't think it's going to happen personally. I think there's
I think there's too much quality ahead of us at the moment. But regardless, we can dream.
Yeah, you've got to beat those teams in and around you as well, haven't you? So
I just look at the table. I think we're comfortably better than absolutely everybody below us in the league table, and obviously that's sort of how the league works. But
I think you've got to go to Newcastle and win. I think you've got to.
You got to go there. Something you basically for us to have any chance, you've got to be taking points away from those teams in and around us.
Yeah,
I think West Ham, like I said, West Ham are awful form at the moment. I think they've lost their last 3.
But we made them look like fucking Brazil.
Yeah,
and they're crap.
So, and our goal difference is okay, but not great compared to those other teams going for it as well. So,
Wait, West Ham fans at the minute are just in turmoil, aren't they? With Moyes and whatnot. They seem to have like a brilliant start to the season, but have fallen off completely. Considering they're still like what 7th? Are they 7th at the minute?
At 9th they are now.
9th.
Only 2 points behind 7th. But if it that's the job Lopetegui's got his eyes on, guaranteed. By the way, so if things carry on going like the way they are, and Moyes does get the sack, I think Lopetegui could get that job.
Well, he turned down the Palace job because he wanted a more ambitious project. Just rearranging my mic. I think he needs a fucking bit of a reality check, if I'm honest.
So,
do you think that West Ham could go in for O'Neill if they got rid of Moyes? I don't think they will get rid of Moyes anyway.
Possibly. I think they possibly could.
Do you think he'd go?
I don't know. I think he's closer to his family. Obviously, an ex-player there as well.
He's a West Ham fan, I think.
Yeah, the grass isn't always greener, though, is it? And I think
no, it's not.
He's got to realise that pretty quickly.
If they're looking for a manager in the summer, I think he could use, and if he doesn't really want to go, he could use it as a bargaining tool with the board to say, look, West Ham are in for me, back me or I'm off. Because I feel like he was a bit pissed off in January with the goalpost being moved. Because he was really confident, then all of a sudden he was confident about 1, then he's confident about 2, and then none at all. I just think that the club have fobbed him off a little bit. If I'm honest, I don't think there was any money there to spend.
Well, if he gets to the end of this season with a top half finish, I think he's got enough credit in the bank that he can walk into a lot of other Premier League jobs anyway. So the ball's in his court, really, I think. So the club have got to back him, really, or at least have a pretty good plan in place to say, this is what we're going to do.
Not move the goalposts. Look, I get that situations change, but I feel like from the interviews that he did in January, that's what happened. There's just no money. It's hard to bring players in when you've got no money to spend, but that's on Fosun. Let's just touch on the horrific news, Dave, that when it broke yesterday, we were all hoping that wasn't the case, that Sasha Kalajdzic has suffered another cruciate ligament injury. His 3rd cruciate injury in 5 years, I think. Came off after 8 minutes. It's a shocker, isn't it, mate? You got to feel for him because, again, to come back from that, I've come back from it myself, and I'm not a professional sportsman, but it's hard work, and especially when it's so debilitating too. It's just become a new father. Well, just become a father. It's a shitter for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crap. Obviously, pretty genuine, nice guy as well. Works really hard. obviously wanted to go out and play football, which I completely understand as well. But ultimately he's won us a couple of football matches this year. Would have been nice to either have him or Fabio Silva still at the club around, I think, especially at this time. But they both wanted to go and play their own game and play some football. And for Sasha, the main reason was to try and get in the Euro squad for the summer. And that's another big international tournament for him gone, you would assume now. I don't think he's going to be back and ready for the summer. So, yeah, really, really, really bad for him. And just fingers crossed he can come back from it, because it's not a nice injury at all.
Especially that I think it's the same knee as well. I think questions have got to be asked around whether he would continue, mate, because it's got to be something wrong with his body breaking down. I mean, I'm not a strength and conditioning coach, but he's either that or he's done something previous
I don't know if
in a previous life, because it's just, it must be so. If it is luck, then my God, his luck is out.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm wrong. Apparently, he'd had his leg was strapped up at the start of the game. I don't know how true that is. I'm just.
But that was the same for when he did the injury at Wolves.
Oh, and I can't see the strap on unless there was anything to have. Unless I took it off when he was having treatment. But Wolves. Yeah, Wolves. It'll be interesting to see if he comes back to the Wolves or what happens with it. But yeah, really disappointing news anyway.
I think in terms of whilst Gary O'Neill still had the door was firmly shut after the comments he made about him, Sasha wouldn't have played. Like, that's isn't it?
Depends how bad. Well, it depends how bad it is. But what he's one that he had for us was like nearly 12 months. It took him to come back from that 10 months. So if it's the same again,
you're looking at 8 months minimum, really.
Yeah, it's like you're looking start of a new season again. You've got he might not play first team again until the start of next year. Really, at a decent level.
It's not going to be. Well, it's not decided whether he's going to come back for his treatment or have it there. But it makes sense for him to.
How is he going to? Well, Wolves aren't. He's got zero value in terms of which club's going to.
You couldn't give him away at the minute.
No.
But he's still good. He's a Wolves player, so there's no point in being treated by Leverkusen, Frankfurt, because whilst his rehabilitation goes on, he won't be the Frankfurt player.
For them as well, they won't want to pay the wages and stuff. They might have to pay like a termination fee or something like that. But
no, the insurance will cover that, because these things do happen. But he's going to have to. I'd imagine he comes back to Wolves and does his rehabilitation there, which is shit for him and his family, because they've just moved over there. They've had the baby, and now they've got to move back.
It seems a cafe here in Wolverhampton, to be fair.
Yeah, but yeah, it's real sad news. But I think from like a selfish point of view for the club, let's hope they took out some insurance, because it's looking like a bit of a tax write-off at the minute. Questions then, Dave, before we close the show. So Harry Gill, friend of the pod, has asked if Gary O'Neill is just as important as some of the key players that we have.
Yeah, I think he's got to be. I think you look at a big group of this squad have been part of the squad under previous regimes. Lopetegui, Lage, even Nuno, some of them. So, and some of these players, especially the forward players, we weren't getting the tune out of them that we are now. So I think Gary O'Neill's got to take credit. He's got things wrong this season, but he's got a hell of a lot right as well. And I think he deserves that credit. And I think he's as important. He could go tomorrow, and I think you'd struggle to find a coach at the moment that's going to continue and improve what Wolves have done so far this season.
I think as well, like João Gomez's comments from the weekend, basically saying like everything in my game now, I'll put in terms of improvements, I put down to Gary O'Neill, which I think speaks a hell of a lot about Gary O'Neill and the changes he's implemented with the squad. So I would agree. I think Hobbs is really important. It'd be nice if the club could give him some money to spend. And it'd be nice if Matt Hobbs could say to Gary O'Neill, we've got some money to spend, and see what they could do together. But yeah, I agree. Someone else has asked, do you think we have a realistic chance of getting Europa Conference League? Adding to that, if we do end up getting in Europe, what players do you think we'll need to be able to cope with next season? It's a lot of what if isn't it? But you need to increase the size of the squad, because there's no way that this current squad is big enough for European competition as well.
I don't think you're a million miles away though. I mean, obviously we've already had a discussion in regards to whether we think we will or won't get the conference or Europe.
You'd have Mosquera and Chiquinho back in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Mosquera, Chiquinho. I think you still got to add at least one or two forward players. You definitely got to bring in a striker. I don't think you're a million miles away. You probably bring in, you got 4 good central midfielders. Maybe you keep Hodge around or whatever. I don't think you're a million miles away. Obviously, you'd want to improve on what we've got for sure. You want better players. But I think squad size, you're not a million miles away from it.
Do you think if we got into Europa Conference League, then Neto would stay? I don't.
Depends what's on the table.
I don't think he'd be. Well,
say again.
It depends if Wolves want him to stay. If the fees are like,
well, that's what I mean. Yeah. I don't think he'd be devastated if you had to stay, but I think if there's Champions League clubs sniffing around or clubs going for titles, then
Nate has asked around with reports already surfacing about the summer and needing to sell Neto, sell to buy, etc. Do you think Gary will be backed in the summer to build the squad with his vision, or will Fosun find excuses again? I think it purely dependent on how much they get for they raise through player sales, which is always you can have an initial kind of inkling of, okay, this player is going to go there for that much, so you can try and do a bit of business. But if you're waiting to sell someone for them to buy someone, I think it's a little bit riskier.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's going to be what happens. Really, whatever revenue you create from sales is what most, not all, but a lot of that will be available for purchases. You'd assume, but it's been pretty clear over the last 2 or 3 years that Wolves have wanted to do that anyway. I think people have just tried to forget that fact, and I think Fosun almost set themselves a standard when they came in the first 2 or 3 years that they were just spending a lot of money, exactly, to get us into the position that we are in. But they made it clear over the last couple of years that's what they've wanted to do. Obviously, COVID hadn't helped our momentum as a club. And then last year we had to spend, otherwise I think Fosun realised how much trouble that we were in. So yeah, I think I don't think there'll be excuses. I think whatever is said is the truth. But I think we will have to rely on players leaving the club to make more money, to bring more in. Sorry.
Amar's music show as his weekly segment. As good as Neto is, I'm starting to get a bit frustrated with what seems to be his ego on the pitch. He's constantly putting his arms up in the air towards teammates and not tracking back after he loses the ball. Have you noticed this? Do you think paper talk is getting to him? Gary O'Neill said something at the weekend about him being a wonderful player, even though he hates it when I try and ask him to work harder. So I've noticed it as well. I think he chucks his dolls out the pram quite a lot on the pitch when things aren't going his way. But I suppose he's one of those players that you afford that luxury when he does what he does.
Yeah,
but I think
I've seen it.
It goes to anyone's head though, wouldn't it? Like if the biggest fireplace company in the world were linked with you, Dave, I'm sure you'd be a bit like to your dad and fuck off. I'm having an hour for my lunch instead of half an hour, wouldn't
you? I've noticed it a little bit more. I think it's something that he still did quite often, but I think you're just starting to notice things more. I think more eyes are on him, aren't they? Really, now. So yeah, I think like you said, I ain't bothered whether he flips it, tells the ref to do one or flicks the V's at Gary O'Neill if he scores a couple of goals at the end of the day. I ain't bothered. So yeah, as long as he's putting the work right in and he's not costing us results for pure stupidity or whatever, then I'm not bothered.
Yeah. FCT Lewis asks how long before someone takes the PE teacher off our hands. He has put crying emojis, but I feel like he's a little bit of a media darling anyway, Gary O'Neill. I think he did a great job at Bournemouth last season. Them sacking him, I think a lot of English pundits felt sorry for him, and he's doing a really good job at Wolves. Controversially, I think that with the squad we've got, we're probably performing in and around where we should be. I don't know if you agree, Dave.
I would agree.
But it's been a miraculous change from last season. It's such more of a better team to watch. And that is down to him. But I think that most kind of any job for like a West Ham or a club who's, I don't know, if Spurs were to sack Ange or whatnot, or Ange went to, I don't know, where would Ange go? Liverpool. I think that some pundits will be putting Gary O'Neill as a front runner in there, but I don't particularly see West Ham as a massive step up. And I'm honest, I think it is a step up, but I don't think it's that great of a step up.
No, the thing with the West Ham thing is it's just location. You might get a little bit more money to play with, but it's a very difficult. Well, I suppose all football fan bases are quite difficult to control sometimes. We're all very, very fickle, but it'd be, like I said earlier, the grass isn't always green enough for him. I think it'd be a risk for him and his career. The only other thing is, and I think it's probably still too early for him, and we've mentioned it before, the England job as well. I think you would probably have an inkling of that though, very, very early on into the Euros campaign.
I think Eddie Howe will have that, mate.
Yeah, personally. Well, I think he's probably a more realistic option. Anyway, he's managed at the top level for
so got to do
for a much longer period of time. So, yeah, I think unless Wolves have literally said, "Look, we're not spending any money this summer," I think he'll stick around.
Yeah, it's on a 3-year deal as well, isn't he? So. Simo, do you think if Chelsea win the League Cup, that would kill European dreams? I think if they won the League Cup, they'd have to double check this, that 7th place would be Conference League. If they win it, I think 8th place. So I can't see Wolves finishing 7th. Can you?
I don't know. Like I say, it's possible, but I just think there's too many teams ahead of us with too much quality at the moment.
And finally, from George Sale, he said, thoughts on having a Ghanaian icon in the squad for another 4 years? Tom King with another, was it a 3-year deal?
3.5-year deal, man. Yeah,
3.5-year deal, man. He's that geezer. He's got the best life ever.
I can't quite believe it. It's weird. Like it's like for him in his career personally, unless he's on like $2,000 a week.
No, he'd be on more than that, but he's got to be on like $5 or $6 a week.
Yeah, even that's very low for a Premier League footballer.
But it's not low for someone doing co-coms, mate.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But why have Wolves spent that on him? Unless there's a plan to, and why would he sign it? Because surely, I suppose that money is probably more than what he would make playing first team for
$1,000,000%. For him, he's laughing. He's earning more money than he probably ever would. All right, I get it. He's not playing, but he just trains every day, collects his paycheck, and then does a bit of.
The thing is, they reckon that he's good behind the scenes, which is good. Like, obviously, a big boost. But I heard previously that he was a cock.
Well, you heard that about Lamina as well.
Yeah, but Lamina, I suppose. Yeah, but I heard I don't know. Things change. I think this atmosphere is good anyway. So that's obviously what they wanted to, try and integrate. So
well, when we did the SACE interview, he hammered home the importance of having real big characters behind the scenes, and it's one of those things that you can't really put a price on, I suppose. So I mean, if that's going to be one of the reasons, isn't it? He's not going to be. I know Matt Hobbs said he pushes Sarr in training, but there's absolutely no way that he's pushing Sarr in training to take his number one spot. So I think if they'd give him another year and a half, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid. But 3.5-year deal seems mad. But all his Christmases have come at once. But yeah, fair play to him. Good gig if you can get it, mate. Most expensive co-coms ever. More than Peter Drury. That's all we got time for this week. Enjoyed that, mate. Enjoyed that. I know what's going to happen. Yep. The next podcast will be us moaning about why we haven't beat Sheffield United. And
we'll be all right.
Europe's off. If we do win at the weekend, though, mate, Europe is you're going to get that passport dusted off.
It's actually with HM, whoever does it at the moment, actually being renewed. And no lie, it's actually.
Is that for any particular? You got your eye on anything or?
No, I'm going to Budapest on a stag do. So
nice.
And then now I'm going to Budapest in August when we play in the qualifiers for the Conference League as well.
Don't even know who the team is in Budapest.
I don't know. I think it's like, isn't it like nearby? Is it Ferencváros? Was it?
Ferencváros, yeah. I think so. That stadium in Budapest though is unbelievable. It's huge. Have you seen it? No. I think it's a Puskás Arena. It's absolutely massive. They were building it when I went last.
Oh, it's obviously Honved, and then there's that
Yeah,
Ference.
but Honved are like third division, isn't they? Something.
Be clash if we got them in Europe, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't think the European powerhouses they once were, but
yeah.
That's all. Yeah, that's all this week. Where can people find you if they want to follow you, Dave?
At Dave as a Party on Instagram and Twitter.
Talking Wolves across all socials. Let us know in the comment section down below if you've enjoyed the podcast. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. It really does help us out. And until next time, take care. Have a wonderful week. And hopefully we're chewing the fat over a 4-0 win against Sheffield United. But I wouldn't be so sure. Football is a wonderful game. But yeah, until next time, take care and have a good week all.